way past my. So let's just dive right in. Need to share my screen with you again. Can you see my screen?
No, not yet. Not yet. Okay, it's loading. Yes, we can see it now.
Perfect, thank you. So you really have to understand or to be aware of your unconscious biases, your blind spots. And the moment you're aware of that, it really helps you, especially when you're thinking about your recruiting processes, when you're thinking about your talent management. That is how you actually get to even develop women and have a lot of women in leadership when we are aware of our biases in our organization. And then alignment of purpose and business objectives. So we're still talking about the leadership anchor. This is basically understanding the strongest part and the strongest part and the most authentic part of your leadership, right? So the most important thing where a lot of leaders struggle is when you think about leadership, you always have to see it as a triangle, right? You always have like the organization, you always have the purpose of the organization, whatever company that you're working for. There was a reason why this company was founded. So that is this overarching purpose, right? And then you as a leader, you have your own purpose. There's a reason why you're working for that company. There's a reason why you chose that company. And then you got your employees, you got your teams. Every single person is an individual and they have their own purpose, right? So you always have to understand these three people, these three, the organization, you as a leader, and your workforce. And then these purposes, they have to be aligned with the vision and mission of the organization. That is how you create a winning organization. That is how you create a purposeful organization. Because to be very honest, when you look at what is happening in the world today, we want to be creating businesses that are impactful. We want to create businesses that are purposeful, because it's all about moving society forward. It's all about leaving the right carbon footprint, actually. Exactly. And when you create purposeful businesses, that is how you're able to, cultivate a culture of ownership. That is how you're able to make sure that you have those little entrepreneurs in your company, because when people work as entrepreneurs in your company, they are extremely innovative for you. So the leadership anchor, this is extremely vital if you want to be an impactful leader. You want to know who you are as a leader. What happens most of the time is during our development into leadership, we always pick, traits from people. We pick traits from our mentors. We pick traits from our leaders, people that we've seen leading, people that we admire. And then we try to incorporate what they do one-to-one, instead of taking the time to understand who we are, who we want to be as leaders, and then take that, what we see from other people, as just a little bit of decoration, and just take it and kind of make it work for you, and not just copy paste. I really hope that's making sense. So when we look at the next thing, the next slide, leverage. As I spoke earlier, a lot of organizations, they struggle to leverage the potential that they have within the organization. And this is where I normally, when I'm talking to organizations, I normally see one basic, the German and the English, similarity. Yeah, similarity. A lot of words, you kind of have them in German, and then I'm always thinking about, God, what's that word in English? So when it comes to leverage, most of the organizations, they have one goal, and every organization is competing around innovation. So this is something that I know, even in Nigeria, most of the organizations, they want to have that one idea, that one best idea that gives them that competitive edge, that keeps them on the market, that keeps them relevant. And then we forget that for us to get, as organizations, for us to get that one great idea, we need to have different perspectives, because ideas are born of perspectives. And for you to get different perspectives, you need to have different experiences in your organization, because perspectives are born of experience. And for you to have different experience, you need a lot of different people within your organization. You need to understand diversity, because different opinions, diverse opinions, that is what gives you that one idea that keeps you relevant. That's what keeps you going as an organization. So you really need to understand diversity at its core, and then you need to make sure that you're building a diverse pipeline. So what I'm talking about is you want to make sure that the people that are coming into your organization, they are of different backgrounds, and you're opening your door, so you have the numbers. And not only the numbers, because most organizations, they think just because we've hired diverse people or people of diverse backgrounds, we are set, you need to make sure you are having the numbers and you're moving beyond diversity. I mean, you are creating belonging, so that when people come into your organization, they feel like they belong and they can only focus on the job that they're really good at. And then when you talk about leverage, for you to be able to leverage people's intelligence, people's skills, and all that, you need to create an environment where they feel that they are psychologically safe enough to only focus on productivity, only funnel you those great ideas to you. And how do you create an environment where people feel psychologically safe enough? Representation matters. That's the first thing, So, especially, let me just put it, for instance, in a German context, most of organizations, they are predominantly white. So as a Black person, you're actually like a unicorn most of the time in many organizations. So, and it can be quite difficult. It can be quite difficult because they don't really understand where you're coming from. Right. For instance, in the bank that I've worked for a long time, I was the only Black person, and the only Black person, especially from Africa, in leadership. So, and I did not have a brother or a sister where you can actually, I'm not talking about Black brothers and Black sisters, I'm talking about somebody in the organization from Africa who understands the struggles that we have, who understand that not only are you sitting there, you're also very responsible for your family in Africa, your relatives and all that. You're literally holding a bloodline. So these are some of the challenges that people have. And if you do not have the same kin, if you do not have the same tribe, it can be difficult. So we really want to make sure that we are creating organizations where there is representation, so that, and when you have representation, you're able to really create those ERGs that are impactful for every single group of underrepresented or marginalized group that you're trying to positively impact. And then you also want to understand that an environment where people feel safe enough, they are going to innovate. Innovation does not automatically yield results, right? For you to come with some cutting edge idea, cutting edge technology, you're going to have to try a couple of times. So it means you're going to have to fail. But you can't do that if you know that one failure is going to have repercussions. If I don't succeed in this project, I'm going to lose my job. So of course, you're going to play it safe. You're not going to push yourself hard enough. So that is why it is so important to make sure that the environment that you're creating, people feel safe enough. There is this culture where people can make mistakes and they're not afraid. Because one thing is, if you want to know that you're really pushing people, that you're getting the best out of your people, they're going to make mistakes. They are. And if people are not making mistakes, if you know that they're playing safe enough, they're playing safe. They're just doing that, that bare minimum to just make sure I'm not crossing any line, I'm keeping my job, I'm keeping it safe. So this is a great indicator for you as a leader. If nobody's really making a mistake, something is wrong, they're not pushing it as hard as they should. And also, you want to create spaces where every voice matters, right? Because now this is another thing I see a lot in Africa, especially. I tell you guys, when I'm working with organizations on the continent, it's always interesting. Those are meetings, but when it comes to the meetings, I'm always telling my husband, oh my God, how I miss Africa. So what do I mean by every voice matters? In most boardrooms, it's always the loudest person gets heard, right? And it's rarely that in such rooms, you find that whoever's moderating or whoever who's leading the board, it's rare that they actually look at the quiet people and they go like, hey, for instance, it's Kingsley. So I'm sorry, Kingsley is the only person I know here, so I'm going to be using you to actually go and say, Kingsley, you know what? I've not heard your voice today. Can you please speak up? So it's very rare. And I normally see that the loudest people, the ones who are normally saying whatever they're saying, always saying something, always commenting, these are the people who are taken seriously. And most of the time, they don't really have the expertise that the quiet people are having. So it is so important for you as a leader to be very keen of your hidden figures. I call them hidden figures because these are people you really have to, you got to be centered. You have to be able to see through bullshit to be able to see these people. So as a leader, make sure that every single person in your team has a voice. Even when they don't speak, it is your job to actively go to them and make sure that you are soliciting their voices. Exactly. And then the power of the collective. This is something a lot of leaders struggle with. I don't know, I'm just going to try to be very diplomatic about this. As a leader, you have to understand that leadership does not happen in isolation, never. And you also got to understand that when all roads are leading back to you as a leader, your success is always going to be capped. Because as one person, no matter whatever expertise you have, it can only go up to a certain point, and you can't do more than that. And as a leader, if all roads are coming back to you, you will never grow. So you have to understand that the people around you, they have to fortify you. So you need to learn to lean into the power. You need to learn to lean onto the intelligence. You need to learn to surround yourself with people who are smarter than you. People are going to push you to think out of the box. People who are going to hold you accountable. You need to learn to leverage the power of the people who are around you. Never forget that as a leader. But now this is a huge kryptonite for a lot of leaders because they believe they got the say. They believe they have it all figured out. They don't, believe you me. When a leader is there telling you how they got their shit together, they don't. So they need you. They need your expertise, or if you ever find yourself on the other side of the table that you are leading people, remember that there is no monopoly to intelligence. Everybody around you, they have something that you don't see. Use that to strengthen your leadership. So, and with that, let's see, we move to leading change sustainably. So now this is, the past 2 years have been extremely monumental. When the pandemic started, it was new, it was exciting, right? We were not sure what was happening. So leaders they had energy, they were psyched up. Okay, come on, let's do this. Let's send our teams home. Let's create these hybrid working situations. But then after a while, you get tired. After a while, policies are changing, things are changing. We need to implement these laws. We need to do this on. I'm not really sure how it affected Africa. I'm not sure if it affected Africa as much as it did affect us in Europe. But at one point, the leaders got tired. So that is why, as a leader, you need to be resilient. You really need to build your resilience. And how do you do that? You need to be adaptable. You need to be able to see challenges. Instead of looking at challenges as challenges, try to find the opportunity in challenges. Try to pivot quickly. I believe every leader can learn from the tech industry. The tech industry, they learn from mistakes. When a product does not work, or when a beta phase does not work, they just fail forward. They quickly forget, take the experience out of that, bam, they move to the next thing. A lot of us as leaders, we wallow, when something doesn't work, we wallow, go like, oh my God, the system used to work, it's not working anymore. Don't waste time with that. Really, be adaptable, be fast, pick whatever experience you pick from that and move forward. And then also, another huge part of resilience is really be curious, stay curious, keep on asking those great questions, keep on learning, never stop learning as a leader. The moment you get to a point and you think that I know it all, that is the day you start failing as a leader. So you keep learning, and always just remember that everybody around you, there's something you can always learn from every single person around you. EQ, emotional intelligence. Every single person is struggling. I have literally seen the needs of the workforce. I've seen the needs of employees, the needs of leaders, and not only in Europe, globally change over the past 2 years. Before the pandemic, it was really a lot of people, they define themselves with their jobs, with the work that I do. There was a kind of a prestige that came around with, hey, I'm the CEO of this, I'm driving this car. It was very materialistic. But then when the pandemic happened, it humbled a lot of people, because we watched economies crash, we watched health systems crash, we watched businesses crash and all that. And we were totally reminded what it meant, what humanity meant, because you could see that we all moved together, and it was really all about connecting with each other at that human level. So as an impactful leader, if you want to make sure that you're sustainably leading change, you need to be able to be emotionally intelligent. You need to be able to have empathy, to understand you people outside work, what is making them tick, what is happening in the lives of the people that I'm leading, because that's how you build relationships that matter. That is how you build rapport with your people, because when you have these relationships, trust me, when you're struggling as a leader, they will rise up for you. Now, this is something I've seen my teams do for me over and over and over again. I've had moments where I honestly had no freaking clue what I was doing, but walking in there and telling my team, you know what, guys, this is what we're faced with. I have no idea what we're doing, but I know that I have incredible people around me. So until whatever, you kind of time it, I want the best ideas on my table. And that's how your team, they hold you up, they really come through for you when you have that relationship, when you know that when you're actually absolutely vulnerable with your team, it does not take away from your leader. It doesn't take away from your expertise. It just makes you human, and it makes you more relatable. And then also, when you talk about emotional intelligence and empathy, understanding people, a lot of leaders struggle with where does it stop, right? Let's say your employee is struggling because the husband lost the job, or the husband's business failed because of the pandemic and all that. Of course, you have to feel with them, right? But at one point, you kind of have to have that balance between empathy and accountability. So how much empathy are you going to show versus how do you hold the people still accountable for the results that you need delivered in your organization? So this is a very gray area that a lot of leaders struggle with, but there are actually ways that you can be able to build this the accountability. There's a way you are able to build this accountability, and this is one thing I would really advise every single one of you to always have at the forefront when you're leading, especially when you're leading with a lot of empathy. Don't let those lines get too gray that you cannot hold people accountable. Because most of the time they will say, I could not perform because this happened. I could not perform because this, I could not perform. Yes, understand what the people are struggling with, but when you build those relationships, then you are able to hold them accountable. So it's quite important to be able to, do the expectations management, set clear boundaries. Those are some of the things that are going to help you to keep that balance. And effective communication. What a lot of people struggle with. So this, I kind of clustered it into new work, tech, to be fluent in tech, and transparency. So what do I mean by that? New work, I've kind of touched up a little bit on that. We experienced a lot of, you experienced that as well, the digital transformation that has happened over the past couple of 2 years. A lot of businesses are digital. For my company, the interface, 70% of the businesses that we've had over the past years, they were purely digital. So these are clients that we have never met live. These are clients that we really took care of virtually. And so knowing how to effectively deliver and communicate, even when you're talking to people digitally, building relationships. You guys know that it is so difficult to build a great relationship digitally as compared to when you meet someone personally. Nothing can replace the human touch. But as much as I normally talk about the human element, I'm also grateful for the the digital transformation that we're having, for the, for the investments that we're having, they're creating a lot of opportunities and creating a lot of, making a lot of things possible that were never possible the past 2 years. So you need to be able to communicate in a remote setting effectively. You need to be able to communicate in a hybrid setting. So are my employees at work? Are they physically here? Are they remote? How often do I check in with them? And that is why you need to be tech fluent. You need to understand what tools can you use as a leader to be able to keep that work, to be able to keep that communication going. So am I using boards? Am I using mirror boards? Am I going to be Basecamp? What tools do I need to effectively deliver to keep everybody together, to keep everybody on the mission? So be tech fluent, understand the kind of setting that you have, hybrid, remote, physical, and know how to effectively deliver what you need to deliver, what you need to communicate to every single person. And then also transparency. I touched on this as well. Let people know when you're struggling. Let people know what you know and what you don't know. Believe me, this buys you a lot of credibility as a leader. There's nothing as terrible as a leader when you pretend to know everything and your team basically knows that you have no clue of what you're talking about. So be transparent. Let them know when you're struggling. Let them know what you know and what you do not know. So until then, I'm seeing the chat. I'm just going to checking the chat if there are any questions that I could actually answer here. Oh, sad reality. Yes. Oh, guys, you should literally see what I deal with every day. So that's why I'm actually excited to talk to you so that you don't make the mistakes that low leaders are making out there. So yeah, let's move forward. So when you think about all these things, I mean, all these challenges that our low leaders are facing, I kind of clustered them in 4, but there's so much to unpack in all that. But when you think about all that, the glue that kind of hold all this together are 3 things. And hold on, I just need to make sure that I've not forgotten anything. So the glue that holds everything together is intentionality, accountability, and consistency. So when you talk about intentionality, as an impactful leader, you want to make sure that you're being innovative. You don't want to do what everybody's doing. You want to impact people positively. You want to make sure that you're bringing the best out of your teams. And you can't do that if you're just playing the games, the rules, you go by the rules that everybody has gone. Dare to disrupt. Dare to literally be creative and do that what you believe is right for your people. Put your people always first, because when you do that, I promise you, they will put you first as well. And that is how you actually retain people. That is how you retain people in your organization, cutting down all the costs of attrition, hiring, and onboarding and offboarding. So it's actually very simple. So do not let your ambiguity bias hold you back. Ambiguity bias, that is that bias that kind of keeps you in your old system, that makes people so risk averse. You find that the people, they're not scared of the changes that are coming. They're just scared of that step. They're just scared of the taking that step, because, hey, why should I change a running system? And then accountability. Hold people accountable. Hold yourself as a leader accountable to the standards that you set for yourself. Because a lot of leaders, they set standards for their people but they don't set standards for themselves. You've got to be a role model. So you got to hold yourself accountable to your own standards first before you even have the audacity to hold anybody accountable to some standards that you set for them. So please do that. Ask those tough questions. Cultivate a culture that people can push each other to be better, where people actually are not afraid to speak up their mind, where people can really go to places that are uncomfortable, because beautiful things are always on the other side of difficult conversations. So, and this is a culture that it does not happen on its own. This is a culture that you really have to build. You have to cultivate it. You really got to work hard for that. And then also consistency, be consistently intentional about doing the right things in your leadership. be consistent about creating those relationships that hold you up when you're down, those relationships that fortify you in your leadership. Be consistent about that. Keep on doing the right things, because success comes out of consistency. You can't do one thing today and then expect to do another thing the next day and expect it to work, you know. Just really keep on doing that every day. And yeah, even in hard environments, even in tough markets, keep on being consistent. And basically, that is how you build impactful leadership. Always put the people at the heart of your strategy, because when you do that, they will always come through for you. And with that, I do believe I've come to the end of my presentation, and I'm going to allow you guys to ask me all the questions that you may have before I go put my daughter to bed. It's way past her bedtime, by the way, guys.
Okay, thank you very, very much, Natalie. This has been such an amazing session.
You're very welcome.
Thank you very much. Yeah, leaders, please, if you have questions, use the chat box or raise your hand quickly to speak. Please, let's do that very quickly, very quickly. Okay, Natalie, before we have the questions, how can we connect? How can my leaders connect with you after now?
Feel free to reach out with me on LinkedIn. I mean, I do try to put out content at least once or twice a week, but I've been busy. So please connect with me on LinkedIn. If you have any questions, ask me. You can go to our website, that is www.interface-leadership.com. Send us an email, and we are more than happy to support you in your way, in your career and your development.
Okay, thank you very much. I would love to chip this in. Mrs. Natalie is such an amazing leadership coach. I remember I reached out to you last year, and it wasn't difficult to get you to get on this call, and you even gave me a lot of clarity. You told me at this stage in our leadership journey, this is a topic that will be good for us, and we had a lot of conversations. And I'm really, really grateful for the opportunity to connect with you. And then even speaking here tonight, I know if we were to pay you, it would be a lot of euros if we were to pay you, but we appreciate you. We appreciate you. I've learned a lot myself. I've learned a lot myself, and I'm very sure my leaders have learned a lot as well. So
I am happy.
we are
I'm
very
happy to
grateful.
hear that. Yeah, I'm happy to hear that. And this is basically, sorry, this is basically what I talked about. This is basically what I talked about. Empowering Mama Africa, you know, that's so important to me that that's why I'm doing this actually. So yeah. What is it?
Very much. Okay, we have someone with a question. Leader Cynthia Ade, please, you can speak.
Okay. Thank you very much, Kingsley, and thank you to Natalie. You've been very open about a lot of things that I faced in some few years. I also struggled when I was giving my first team, but over the period, I gained some experience, and I've learned a lot of things today, and things have been made clearer today. So thank you. Thank you.
You're very, very welcome. And I'm really glad that the message resonated. And to be very honest, I can also understand what you're saying, because I do believe I'm speaking for a lot of women. Women in leadership, that is something else. You know, it's not just, for us, it's not just proving our worth and proving the expertise that we bring. We have a lot of things that we, we carry with us, we have our families. You guys noticed my little one was crying at the same time. So it is you balancing your family. You know that if you don't get the job well done, you're probably ruining it for other mummies who are coming, or other women who got children, So you don't want people to go like, oh, when women get children, they can't be able to deliver, or women cannot be able to deliver. So there is this responsibility that we solely carry in the spaces that we occupy, knowing that whatever I'm doing today, it is going to affect my ladies who are coming after. So guys, this is going on to every single man in this chat. If you ever find yourself in a leadership position, I need you to use your privilege as a man to open the doors for other ladies in leadership. Push them, speak up for them. If you see any ladies who are being overlooked and you know that they're really doing the work, you got to bang that table for them. You got to be the voice for them. So I hope really that is clear to all the guys out here.
Yes, definitely clear. Thank you very much again,
You're
Mrs.
welcome.
Natalie. We'll have to leave you now to take care of the family. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. We'll be connecting with you, and we hold you very dear to our heart. And we are very pleased we got to get you to speak at our second anniversary. Thank you very much. Thank you very
You're
much.
welcome, and keep up the good work, guys, and all the best. Have a great start in the week. Bye. Thank you for having me.
Have a great night rest too.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye bye.
Bye.